Broom up, witches. This is a review of champions, and I'm your host, Grandmaster. With me is a powerful panel made up of the finest champions Sakar has to offer. Let me introduce them to you. First up, we have the original, Mr. Taylor first. How are you?
I'm excellent.
Voice only, we have Lokismom. How are you?
Doing really well.
Also voice only, we have Mr. Lord Deathman.
Enchanted.
And last but not least, showing his beautiful face on camera, Merv. How are you?
Oh, fantastic.
Great. We're all fantastic here today. Magical. There's magic in the air today. Today we're going to talk about episode 5 of Agatha All Along. But before we do, I want to ask you all to help us out. Like and share this video, subscribe to our channel, and join our forum at Sakardo.freeforums.net. Set up an account, get to know us, and if you want to, you can join us on our shows. Consider this your final warning. After this point, we're going to spoil it. So if you haven't seen this week's episode yet, do that first and then come back to our video. So, last week we were talking about the danger of Agatha All Along getting a little bit repeating itself. Well, did they or did they not? And I'm going to ask you, Lord Deathman, first.
I think they did repeat themselves, but probably in the most delightful way possible. It was a really strong episode, so let's get that out of the way. But yes, we did get to another escape room. We got to another challenge, but this one felt like the stakes were much higher for me than in some of the others. And I think we got back to our roots with Agatha as a villain.
Yeah, we may have another villain story. We get a lot of those lately, but let's talk about that later. Merv, what did you think?
I did find the episode a bit repetitive, at least halfway through or 3/4 of the way through. But some of the twists and turns, especially near the end of the episode, I really enjoyed and really left me feeling like it wasn't just like a rinse and repeat episode, just another escape room romp, which is fine, but it gets stale after about 3 episodes in a row of it. So, pretty good episode, I think.
Lokismom, what did you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, so far it's been consistent. I mean, we're in episode 5, so I think we can sort of ease up a little bit on worrying it's going to get bad like we've experienced in the past with some of the Disney shows. But yeah, repetitious, yes, but I think it was a much shorter episode. That they didn't dwell as much in that the escape room with the funny tropes. I guess it's supposed to be like a slumber party from the 1980s. That was shortened, and then of course it turned really dark right after that. When they got back out of that, they were in it and then they were out of it. And then I think the show took a really dramatic turn that it hadn't at this point. And
yeah,
genuine scares in it too.
Yeah. Oh, Taylor, did you enjoy it as the rest of the panel, or did you just say this show is not for me after this episode?
I absolutely loved this episode. It was great.
Oh, that's good.
And,
okay.
Okay, I don't get the whole repetitious thing. Okay, I watched every episode and season of Columbo, and they're the same thing.
That's true.
The first 20 James Bond movies are literally the same movie, and I love all of them. Indiana Jones movies are all the same, and I love every one of them. So this is episodic television.
Okay, Taylor says Agatha All Along is on the same level as James Bond. So nice.
There you go.
I can clip that. Merv, besides the fact that there were some nice twists and turns at the end, what did you think the first 20 minutes or so? Were you a little bit bored or not?
No, not really. I like the cabin in the woods, like Evil Dead, like aesthetic to a lot of it. It kind of had the slumber party feel, but the possession angle really felt to me like a lot of like Evil Dead. And through that, we get a lot of, I guess, honestly, backstory for Agatha. It seems like we got a lot of her relationship with her mother, which honestly, contrary to the way Lord Deathman feels, I feel like this humanized her quite a bit. Seeing like I don't know if it's almost like her mom believes that she was born evil, and I feel like we see the hurt on Agatha's face there. I feel like I had a completely different reaction to that. Like it made me more sympathetic towards her. Not necessarily to the her. I don't even want to say she's sacrificing people along the way, but her nonchalantness about losing people along the way just really came to a head here, especially with Teen. Uh, and there was a big reveal with Teen, obviously, or we see a different side of Teen that we didn't see, a pretty powerful side. So I'm really curious to see where this goes moving forward. I'm not sure how many episodes are left, but this seems like we're headed down the final stretch, so to speak. Hopefully,
4 episodes left, I think. 3 weeks ago. Last week they dropped another 2, probably for a reason. So overall, you were pretty pleased.
Yeah, I think I was initially worried because not worried, but I started to feel the same story beats. It felt like you get a little bit of backstory. You're in this the trials were starting to feel the same to me. So it's like you enter this room and everything changes, but like the challenge is really just like an internal one. You got to overcome some emotional aspect of your personality or whatever, and then there's some supernatural force you have to deal with. So that aspect did start to feel repetitive to me. So I was kind of looking for a curveball. I was looking for something to spice it up to really make it stand out from the other episodes, and I think that accomplished that by the end of it. Really kind of it was starting to lose me a little bit and then pulled me right back in towards the end. And like I said, I'm just excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I think Lord Deathman probably was referring to Agatha as a villain from the moment she took the power of the other witch, and then she really was weird when they were back on the road. Am I right, Lord Deathman? Did I see that right?
Absolutely, absolutely. The heel turn was done well, and I didn't. I've been watching the show. I've been enjoying it. I'm glad to hear that there have been some good notices. I finally took a look at what the critics have been saying about it after like 5 episodes in. So it's nice to see that this Disney Plus show has the best week-to-week continuation, apparently, of any Disney Plus show they've done thus far. And you can see why. The show, regardless of whether you're into this genre or not, or the themes, is just really smart and done really well. And I like this episode because I didn't realize how much I just felt like the focus was drifting away from Agatha, with the last couple of escape rooms focusing on some of the other witches, which were done well and told well and had some great action moments and great dramatic beats. But the show is called Agatha all along. So I'm calling this the strongest episode because we get back to her story, we get some patches of backstory. And I think her challenge, her trial was done so well because they actually brought a figure out of her past. And her mother's indictment is, it's not great, right?
No.
So, it was just kind of, I mean, Agatha's been scheming in the background, and you can tell she's been plotting things in the last few episodes, but this was like a pure return to the sociopathic villainy of the Agatha that I remembered from WandaVision. And I just felt like, oh, wow, this is cool. This is starting to sort of be um, a real conflict because the Coven has been in conflict with the Road, essentially, and the Salem Seven, who are not very articulate, expose. They come around and do spooky things, but now there's conflict that you can that's a bit more palpable than just throwing barbs at each other over the campfire. And when she does the heel turn and dusts a member of the coven, that's villainy. And I was like, okay, now my eyes are glued to the screen. I want to see what happens next. How are they going to respond to this? And then she just kind of peels off the mask of even any kind of empathy or sympathy with the rest of the coven. Teen becomes a quote unquote pet, familiar in almost the literal sense until he has his comeuppance, which I think was done extraordinarily well. And while I'm not like the biggest Wiccan fan, I know like everybody wants to declare a national holiday because Wiccan is on the scene now. Not my favorite comic book character. I've read some stories with the character in it, but again, where it's got the WandaVision vibe that I was really looking for. A little bit of that DNA is coming into the show. But I continue to be astounded with what they're doing with just practical sets. If you were going to do a repetition of an escape room to keep my attention, this was the one you had to do, right? The the cabin with the teen girls, slumber party type situation. I almost thought they were going to go into like a slasher direction with like a sort of Voorhees stalking them. But they did something that I think was even better and turned it kind of into the ghost slumber party. So having a lot of fun with the series. This is my all-time favorite episode, I think. Maybe the pilot could compare in terms of being trapped in a Mare of Easton. But yeah, conceptually, dramatically, this I think is my favorite episode for the reasons I've stated.
Yeah. It's at least Agatha got some tough love. Taylor, since you were comparing Agatha all along with James Bond, you want to compare the Salem 7 to the 9 from Lord of the Rings?
They do look a little bit and act a little bit like them. But yeah, I love that the Salem 7 made it down to the road. I love that whole opening sequence where they showed up. I love the getting on the brooms to get away from them. That was freaking classic. And as everyone said, when they got to the house, each one of these challenges has subtly and not so subtly at times, utilized horror tropes that we've seen in other things in other movies. Last week was kind of a late 60s, early 70s supernatural exploitation type movie. And this week, of course, we got the 80s slumber party, Ouija board, Exorcist, Evil Dead, all of the above teen slasher in the woods type stuff. And they all of those tropes showed up when Agatha was possessed herself. I thought that was that was really well done. And as far as Agatha, as far as what happened in the episode, yeah, we did, we got the Agatha's mother and how horrible that was. Now, we don't really know, who's right and who's wrong. I mean, was Agatha in fact born evil, or did something her mother did to her or something someone else did to her make her evil? But as far as I'm concerned, throughout this entire show, she has been a villain. Other than being a little bit protective of Teen a few times, she's been manipulating everyone and working behind their backs and taking every advantage for herself that came up that she thought she could get away with. So she's been a villain this whole time, as far as I'm concerned. The climax where what's her name, Alice was killed. I think that's the witch's name. And then they went and then they shut off the Ouija board by going to goodbye. After we heard from Nicholas Scratch, by the way, which I guess, does that mean Nicholas Scratch is dead? I guess that means he's dead. And Nicholas Scratch, in the comics anyway, is Agatha's son. And of course, the reveal, when we get back out there, things were a little bit different. Okay, so now Agatha she just went through trauma there with her mother, and with Alice dying. I'm not sure. I don't think she may have killed Alice on purpose. It's really hard to tell at this point, but regardless, she was responsible for her death. But now she knows, or at least she thinks she knows, that Teen's not her son. I think she suspected that he was, as a lot of us did. So she just kind of said to heck with it, why should I even pretend anymore? I guess she's like, we're almost at the end of this road, and they all hate me anyway. So and this is just my reading of her actions and how her, her facade kind of fell down at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, it's as of now, it seems Teen is Wiccan. It could be, could be a bait and switch, could be something else, but for the time being, it definitely appears that he's Wiccan. And I'm very interested in hearing how this all came about, because there's got to be a big story there of how he exists and why he exists and what he's been doing for the last 3 years, etc. I hope they don't try to draw from the comics, because there's a couple different stories, I believe, in the comics, and they're all really convoluted and really god awful. So they need to come up with something fresh for Wiccan's backstory at this point, assuming he is Wiccan. But yeah, I just love the episode. I thought it was all really well acted. I thought the tropes were executed really well. The setting was good. The special effects, the spooky parts, the funny parts, all of them worked really well. And I agree. I think this was the best episode so far.
Any negatives?
No, I don't really have any negatives for this one. I have some questions, which I assume will be answered in the next episode, because Wiccan. Now, there seems to be something about on the road or these houses and something where witches get like a power boost or something. They have powers that they didn't actually have up in the world, or they had lost up in the world. So, like, for example, I don't think Alice was able to shoot those beams at people when she was working at the mall.
No.
So, and now Wiccan has gotten a power boost somehow. Teen Wiccan, whoever he is, has gotten a big power boost. And what caused that, we don't know. Is it permanent? Is it temporary? And of course, Agatha was able to suck power, which I don't think she could do because she had lost all her powers up in the real world. Regardless, there's a big power boost going on. So Wiccan, took mind control of the other two witches, threw Agatha in the mud, then threw the other two in the mud. But where is Rio while all this is going on? That's a question that I'm really waiting to see answered. And hopefully she'll play a role in unscrewing this mess that we're in right now and
Yeah.
get back on the road.
Rio is kicking names and taking ass.
Exactly.
Oh, Lokismom. What did you think of of Agatha at the end when she was actually kind of creepy, becoming full villain? Any thoughts on that? And what did you think of the episode as a whole? Negatives, positives?
It was like I said in the intro, they really they didn't dwell take as much time in the escape room trope as they did the other two episodes. So I think that was what made it work. If they had drawn it out, and then we get to the next episode, is going to be the big reveal about Wiccan or whoever he is. But yeah, I thought it was, as everyone said, it's well executed. There was actually some genuine scares. I mean, when she was up on the ceiling, and it was kind of like that boom, and I actually got a little jump out of that. So it was like when you can get me a little boo into me, they've done something. So yeah, but that whole part scene was well done. I mean, it was a lot of references to The Exorcist there. Also, I think at the very beginning, the sort of a little slam at Harry Potter when the Patty LuPone she's complained, but the brooms, they shouldn't do the broom because that's a stereotype and yada yada, and then they all jump on the brooms and take them. I thought that was pretty funny and
yeah. And then they do the biggest stereotype of all, showing them crossing the moon.
Yeah.
That how stereotypical can you get?
Yeah, there you go. We kind of always refer back to Scooby Doo. I think that Scooby Doo plays a big part, and I think what was the witches? It was one of the biggest was Scooby Doo and the witches, something or another. So I was sort of thinking of that, and also the whole relationship between Agatha and her mother. I think I'll sort of speak as the lady member of the team here. Something just scared the hell out of me the other day. I was fixing a cup of coffee, and I looked down and I saw my mother's hand coming out of my sleeve. So I think that was that sort of the horror for some women, at least for us, is that, oh my God, I don't want to be just like my mother. And I think the mother coming back and just being so hard. Oh, you were born evil. And oh my God, what a horrible thing to come out of a child here, coming out of her mother's mouth. You were
Mm.
born evil. That's, oh. So I think that gave me some sympathy for Agatha at that point. Not that my mother ever told me that, but moms and it can be pretty harsh to their daughters.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think the sons always realize that. But anyway, there again, good acting. I hate that we lost Alice. I think everybody's going to be back at the end for some reason. I don't think these people are gone for good. Mrs. Hart. Here again, Catherine Hahn was fantastic. She does the silly possession thing, and then of course it really does turn into a real possession, and then they get back into the where she starts drawing that energy from Alice. I don't know whether she was doing it on purpose, but but Agatha is very, very greedy. I mean, she loves that part. In that way, she sort of reminds me a little bit of Loki, in that she craves it. She can't help it. It's just she's got to have that power. But she
Yeah.
doesn't know how to use it the right way. She's using it for evil or whatever. So maybe that just, for whatever reason, it just reminded me of that. And then of course the reveal at the end. I mean, with the kid, if he's Wiccan or whoever he is, or Nicholas Scratch, it's going to be yeah, it's keeping us guessing.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it all the way through.
Mm. Good. Okay, I'm gonna do before we go to the rating. I'm just gonna do a quick question, and I just want yes or no from the panel, if they can do that. Normally they elaborate. You're allowed to, by the way. Don't tell. Wanda, will she show up? Yes or no? Merv,
No.
Lord Tefman,
No.
Taylor,
No.
and Lokismom.
Not in bodily form, but definitely in some shape or how. So I'm going to have to say yes and no.
Okay. Yeah, that's helpful. Okay, so she's not gonna. Okay.
Flashbacks do not count.
Flashbacks do not count. No, I meant she's gonna be like a presence in this show and maybe in the MCU again. But
Well, remember, we're talking about magic here, so I don't know if the actress Elizabeth Olsen will be in the show, but the character in some shape or form could be as a spirit, as something else.
yeah,
Since they mentioned her name in the very beginning, I think it's going to have to tie up somehow at the end.
we'll see. I just got to think that because Wiccan now is a factor and he's on the road, there must be a reason he wants his mama back. Well, anyway, okay, let's just move on to our rating. Lord Deathman, what's your number for this week's episode?
I'm going to give it an 8.
Good number. Taylor?
Yes, just because it's a stereotype doesn't mean it's not true. 10 out of 10 broomsticks for this episode.
Merv?
Just 2 more highlights real quick. One, Agatha's impression of Mrs. Hart was fantastic. I legitimately thought she was being possessed by her because it was spot on. And 2, whenever they were spelling out Mrs. Hart, did anybody else think Mr. Shart? Because that was where my brain went immediately. Maybe it's because I'm a guy. I don't know. Maybe it's whatever. But I will give this one 8 out of 10.
Lokismom?
8.
8? Okay.
Mhm.
I'm going 9 out of 10. I thought this was easily the best episode. I really enjoyed it. And if they keep this up, this might be in contention for the best Marvel Disney Plus show. And that's for a show nobody asked for, except Taylor. And nobody wanted except Taylor. So, well done, Marvel. That will conclude this week's review of Champions for episode 5 of Agatha All Along. We hope you have enjoyed our discussion today. If you did, help us out. Like and share this review and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you really want more of us, join our forum at sakard.freeforums.net. There's a link in the description below. If you click it, you can set up your account. It's so easy. 2 clicks away from becoming a champion, people. Next week, we will be back to discuss episode 6. And you can check out our review series for the Penguin as well. It's currently running on our channel. For now, I want to thank you all also on behalf of our champions and wish you all to be magical. Bye.